Welcome to Duality Gamecast, sponsored by Gladiator Games. Today's episode, Istanbul.
Welcome to Duality Gamecast. I'm Matt.
And I'm William.
Today we're taking a look at Constantinople,
Istanbul.
All right.
Istanbul is a worker movement game where your goal is to collect 5 gems, or in a 2-player game, 6 gems, before any other player. On your turn, you take one action. Basically, you can pick up your merchant and all the assistants that are underneath them, move up to 2 spaces away. When you move, you drop off one of your assistants, and then take the action out of this square. Okay, so this one says move all my, or max out my green goods, so let me max that out. Also, when you land on a space with another merchant, you have to pay them $2. There you go, green guy. Then you pass turn to your left. Goes around the board. On your turn, if you need to move, and your merchants by themselves and they move someplace, you don't take the action, you just pass your turn. That's all you get to do that turn. If you move on to a place where there's another assistant, you can take that action, and now you have that assistant back with you to help you out in the future. A few actions you can take here on the board, let's take a look. We have the gem dealer. There you can just buy gems straight up. You have the Sultan's Palace. There you can trade in goods for gems. You have a couple special action tiles here you can purchase for goods. You can sell goods straight up for money. What's some other fun stuff you can do? If you end up here on the fountain, you pull in all of your assistants, letting you spread out again from that point instead of having to go out and collect them. There's a few other cool things. One of the big mechanics of this is filling up your cart. Here you can increase the size of your cart, so when you go to these various warehouses, when you fill up even more, so you have more goods to spend as you go. Again, play continues until someone reaches the 5th gem or 6th gem in a 2-player game. Then you finish the round and see who's the winner.
Okay, so Istanbul. William, what do you think about the play in this game?
It's interesting. It's something that I've seen other games do a little bit, but I have never seen the actual, like, leaving a guy behind. I know we play, like, 5 Tribes, has, like, a Mancala type mechanic to it. And this made us want to, like, leave and drop stuff as we go, but you don't. You drop in the place you land, which isn't hard at all. But it's something that, like, every time we do, we're like, oh, no, wait, the guy gets dropped when we stop, not from where we pick up from. But it's neat. Basically, it's a action selection game that instead of just having one worker that you're putting down every turn, they add a little bit more mechanics to it with leaving behind the assistants, so that you can set up like little paths you can run. So I know, like, if you see like 3 tiles that kind of generate a little bit of a bonus for you, you can kind of loop between them for a few turns. But at the same time, people can kind of land in hop in those spots and make you pay bucks or kind of disrupt you a little bit. So it has some neat. There's no actual denial like in most worker kind of placement games where someone puts a worker there, he's got to pay him a couple bucks to go there. Yeah. So it's more of like a poke than a straight up like stop or anything like that. So I kind of like the fact that no one can really stop you from doing what you want to do. They can just kind of slow you down and stall you out a little bit. It's really simple. There's basically 4 goods. Looks like it's fruit, spice, textiles, and jewelry or black market goods, something like that. 3 of the goods, there's just a spot you go to collect. The black market jewelry goods are the ones that are like the high-end resource you have to figure out ways to get. So it makes it so you don't just run a loop between a couple things that generate it. You actually have to take a couple actions, roll some dice. There's a little bit of randomness in there that makes it neat. So overall, I think it's cool. It has, when we're playing it, I got a 5 Tribes vibe just because of the pick up and move, take actions thing. Plays completely different though. Has a very like kind of just smooth, easy. There was no confusion. There was no, like, I don't think we had any problems with knowing what actions did. It's icon based, but we got that okay. So all the way around, I like the mechanics.
Yeah, I do too. The only confusion, I think, was we were actually, I think, second-guessing ourselves at points, kind of expecting the movement to be more complicated.
That's true.
Than it was. You had some great routes going during one of the games, and we were kind of like, is this the way it's supposed to work? Is it?
I'm having so much fun. It's running so smooth. I feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Yeah. The tile layout is variable. So the rulebook comes with 3 suggested layouts and the option to just do random. So there's what they call a short pathway option, which is sort of the intro, easier game. So we played that first. And then there's a long path where they take the cashing in cards, the ruby cards, and they get them as far away really from the cards that tend to generate what you need to get those rubies as you can go. And then there's another one that we haven't played yet where I think they put all the resource generating stuff in one kind of block, and then all the victory point kind of stuff in another block.
Yeah,
for the most part.
That's how we have it set up right here. Yeah, it's funny. Yeah, all the stuff that makes what you want is here, and all the stuff that you want to spin it on is down here. So it makes you maybe feels like a district. I don't know. Like you run to one part to get goods, and you're gonna be running around up here for a few turns, and then you'll run down here and do stuff for a few turns. I mean, we haven't played it yet, but it seems like that it does give you a completely different feel. Because I know after we played it the first one with the short routes, when we played it the second time with the longer routes, we were like, oh, hey, the game feels, it is, I mean, you're talking about a 4x4 grid, right? But it makes a big difference if stuff's 3 spaces away instead of 2, because you can move 2,
yeah.
You can't move 3, so then you have to start figuring out some kind of middle of the road, like other actions that maybe aren't optimum that you want to take, though, that best benefit your strategy.
And I also love that, they have kind of these middling cards that, can give you things to do as well that maybe aren't the direct path to victory. But, like, you have a tea house, which is just a gambling hall, which is totally awesome. You pick a number, and then you roll 2 dice, and if you roll that number higher, you get that much gold. Really cool. Then there's the post office, which has this neat little, almost economy thing, micro economy thing going, where you go there, and there's these little cubes, and the revealed goods are what you get for going there. And then you fill one in, and now it's changing. And ultimately, you'd love to land there when all the cubes are at the bottom row, because then you get more money and you get the jewelry / black market goods.
Yeah.
Which normally you can only get if you go to the black market, which is another dice rolling one where you'll get some good regular goods and you have a chance to get the black market goods. And then there's bonus cards. How do you feel about the bonus cards? Do you feel like they were unbalanced or swingy at all?
Well, everybody starts with 1. And there's some that are great for, like, ending the game. They let you do, the actions let you get the gems twice, which take a ton of resources, so you can pull a bunch of stuff and cash them in. But if you get that as your starting card, it's a dead card. You're not going to have the goods and money until basically until you're ready to cap the game. Where someone else might get one that just says, you get $5 extra. That $5 extra, you can instantly upgrade your card or do something else. Or one of them just gives you an extra good or lets you move an extra space. Those ones are instantly beneficial. The other ones are ones that you're going to have to take. Like, there's an action on here to draw cards and discard cards. You're going to have to take that action to get any use out of that card, really. You're going to have to get rid of it and just use it as, like, the cost to get other cards.
Right.
So I feel like they're not balanced, but I don't know how much it affects the game, because those in-game cards seem like they'd be the thing that lets you surprise victory.
Yeah. So
that when you're at, like, 3 cubes, everyone's like, well, he has at least 2 turns left before he can win, and then you go, boom, 2, I'm done. And that's a cool thing, but like I said, can't do it at the beginning. Whereas the other ones seem like they get you to that mode. So I think from a starting player perspective, they're not balanced, but I think for the rest of the game, after you get past the first 2 turns, it all evens out.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't think they were too bad, but there is a lot of difference in power level. I liked that, like you mentioned before, you can't get hosed in this game like in some more, mean worker placement games. But there's ways to make things more difficult for your opponents. If you concentrate on the gemstone dealer where you buy in rubies, you could push up the cost of rubies. If you're trading in early on the Sultan's Palace for rubies, trading goods in, then you're going to make it harder because it takes more and more goods the more rubies are taken away. So there's that. And then there's also, there's this cool family thing that I don't think we really
talked about that.
Every merchant has his assistants, and he has a family member.
A tall piece.
The family members start at the police headquarters, like in jail. And if you land there, your action for that space is freeing them from jail, and you get to place them somewhere else on the board and take that action, which is really cool. It's a neat way to get across the board, or to take an action like 2 turns in a row, which normally is kind of hard to pull off.
And unless you ignore penalties. So let's say that everyone's ganged up in one area for some reason, you have to pay each of those merchants $2.
Yeah.
But if you send your family member, well, they're not the merchant. They get to go over there and take that action without the cost. So it's a good way to circumvent that too.
And then also another way to make it more difficult for the opponents is when you go to the mosque spaces, you can purchase special ability tiles. And their cost, if you take the top one, the next one costs more than that one, and so on and so forth. So if you blitz those, or blitz one of them at least, it suddenly becomes harder for your opponents to get those. They'll still get them. I didn't feel like any of these strategies they're more like just slowing people down than anything.
But I think what it did is it kind of, this is a game you want to generally do a little bit of everything, I think. Yeah. You probably want to focus in one area. But because of the way it works, if someone starts focusing in one area, you can compete with them, but in a 4-player game, you're just kind of shooting each other in the foot because you're paying one. You're just kind of messing with each other.
Right.
Whereas it seems like, for instance, the mosque pieces, the way it works is the first one you have to have 2 of a good, then 3 of a good, then 4 of a good, then 5 of a good. The only way to get that many goods is to upgrade your cart, which you have to get a bunch of money by selling goods to upgrade your cart. So the first person who moves in and gets that upgrade at the mosque completely locks everyone else in, and if they want those upgrades, they have to upgrade their cart. Because you can do probably like a minimalist strategy in this game and not upgrade your cart at all, try to do little micro trades or try to work it some other way. It's going to be hard, but you might be able to get by. But if you don't get those right away, then you're out.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened. First game we played, the short path game, I didn't upgrade my cart at all, and I blitzed all the mosque tiles and made them more expensive for you. But it wasn't really a big deal because you were kind of investing in making your wheelbarrow bigger anyway. The second game, I was going to try to do that again, but you got to one of those first, and then suddenly I was locked out. I had to increase my wheelbarrow. One last component, and there are 2 little roving fellas on the board, Smuggler and Governor. When you land on a space we're in, you have an optional action. They call it an encounter, where you can take with them. The Governor lets you draw bonus cards.
Or get money, I think.
Or get money. And the Smuggler gives you access to goods.
Yes.
And then anytime you run into one of them and use their action, or the other thing is when you're playing in a less than 5-player game, the other merchants actually go on the board as NPC type guys. You run into them, you still have to pay money to the bank, even though no one's playing them. They're just a nuisance. But anytime you interact with one of these sort of NPC characters, you then roll the dice and move them to a matching tile. So they're popping around the place, kind of like a Settlers of Catan robber kind of thing. But there's a bunch of them, or at least when you're playing with less than 5 players. And I also think if you're playing a full contingent of 5 players, which we haven't got to do yet, it could get a lot more of
stepping on each other's toes.
Yeah, and suddenly you're landing in a spot where there's 2 or 3 merchants, and that's a lot of money. So I'm kind of actually looking forward to playing it that way.
And the mosque tiles, I think, could make a big difference because all the games we played, I've been going to big wheelbarrow. That was my strategy. But I could see in a 5-player game of the first couple people grab the beginning of the mosque tiles, and then the other people could be locked out for a big percentage of the game from having that option.
Yeah.
And having maybe not crippling them, but completely having to make them change their strategy.
And I would say, from what I've experienced so far, at least 3 of the 4 mosque powers are really good. Like, there's one that just gives you an extra assistant, which is huge. There's one that lets you re-roll your dice or change one die to a 4, which could be really good too. And there's one that lets you pay money to retrieve an assistant, which also could be huge. The trade good one is cool. I felt like it was the least powerful.
I think it's the best way if you're when I was playing it, for me it was going big wheelbarrow again. It's a legitimate way to get the blue goods, the jewelry or black market goods, because what it does is it lets you buy when you go to one of the warehouses, it lets you buy a good that isn't from that warehouse for $2.
Which normally you can't get blue anywhere except the black market.
Right. Normally you'd have to. It's basically random if you get them, because even on the black market where you can get them, you roll dice and on a 6 or lower on 2 dice, you don't get any. Yeah. So it lets you guarantee getting those and kind of build up that pool. But yeah, it's one I feel is more strategy. Not saying the dice rolling. I think the dice rolling, from the small mosque, those 2 are more strategy dependent, and the other ones are more just quality of life. Yeah. You want more assistance. You want to be able to call them back. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So a lot of options, a lot of choices, and a lot of little mechanics, but still somehow a pretty simple game to grasp, which is a nice balance. And what about theme? Like, do you feel like the theme came through with merchants and buying the goods and assistance and all that?
Yeah, well, I mean, yes and no. I mean, I feel like the trading of goods and everything was there. I don't know if I really felt like I was leaving, like, in my mind, I was leaving assistance. Because I'm basically, you take action when you move there. So in my mind, I'm going there and I'm taking an action.
Yeah.
And then I'm leaving something behind. So in my mind, it almost feels more like some type of, like, trade or barter chip I'm leaving behind than an actual assistant. But, you know, I mean, I did feel like I was trading, selling goods. Depending on where you're at, going to the, you know, the wagon right, build your wagon up, that type of thing. So I felt it, but there was some funny things like we were talking about originally. The game almost makes you, a lot of times we felt like we were cheating. Because it was like, this is running so smooth.
Yeah.
So I go to this thing and I fill my cart up with silk. It doesn't cost me anything.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, that's just what you do because the game took away all that needless stuff and just made it like, you don't have to come up with an economic engine in order to buy goods to sell them for more money. You're a merchant, you're going to buy silk and then sell them for money in some way. And that's what, I think that's what maybe made it almost not feel as themey because of that. But it's just because I didn't feel like I had to, there was never a point where I'm like, I need money in order to get going. Which I think is a good feeling. I enjoyed it, but it doesn't make me feel like the standard economic merchant type game, I guess.
Yeah, yeah. How about the art and component quality?
It has the little red plastic gems.
Yeah, those are cool.
I think, like, the art in terms of the images on the board look great. I think they all nice quality art. Iconography, it's all over the place on this thing. I don't think we had any trouble with any of it. Like
first game, maybe a little look up, but nothing.
I think you read the rule book, and then it's nice. It has a page that has all the tiles information on it, so you don't have to worry about that. And I mean, it also comes with little player boards which explain everything. It doesn't explain the tiles, but it explains what all the cards do, because those are the things you can't really just like, you don't want to ask openly because they're secret cards. Yeah. It explains the basic turn structure, which takes about this much room on the cards, so you know it's not hard to play. I think the art did a good job of everything was really clear. Everything's color based, but it does have an image in it too. So like silk is red, but there's also a little picture of silks. Yeah. So yeah, I think they did a great job with the art and components on it. Chipboard's solid, little coin money, wood cubes. I guess that'd be the closest maybe worry is there's a white player and then there's nude wood cubes on the board, but you never put cubes on the board, so
it doesn't.
Yeah, that's me trying to find something. No, I thought it was all great.
Yeah, I thought it was really good too. I would not call it a super deluxe kind of game.
No.
It feels like a Euro game. It feels like that. Just the overall graphic design and utilitarian artwork is kind of classic Euro, but it totally works. I liked all the bits. One cool thing that I'm not sure, it feels like they didn't even have to do this, but all the tiles are double-sided. So it doesn't matter how you put this out, it's right. Even the little helper cards are double-sided. But it's such a simple game, they didn't have to put anything extra on the back side. It's literally just the helper card on both sides. So that was cool. You got the wood tokens with the stickers. I will say I can tell that some of the stickers are already kind of scratching.
They were rough looking when we were peeling them off, yeah. But, I mean, and then that's just it, is that for some reason there's two unique pieces, right? Yeah. A black piece and a purple piece. For some reason they had stickers to go on the top of them. Yeah. I think I'd be good with that. I guess maybe, yeah, I don't see that.
The merchant is thicker disc than his assistant.
And his assistant's
but thoughtful.
Like that's thoughtful, but like if there was no stickers, that'd be hard to tell apart.
Yeah, it would.
But they gave us stickers. So even if the stickers wear out, it's still easy to tell what's what. Yeah.
Yeah, so overall I think, very thoughtful production quality.
So Istanbul, I wanted to keep saying pleasant. I enjoyed it. It ran smooth. It's like I was saying earlier, the whole game I felt like I was cheating because everything just worked out. And I was always like, man, I feel like I should be paying. I feel like I should be penalized. I feel like I should be punished. This game doesn't want to do that to you. It wants you to just have fun with it. So for that, I'm going to give it 11. I was kind of going back and forth between love it and like it, but I think love it's the right rating for this. I enjoyed it. Anytime anybody wants to play it, I'll hop right in. It's something that has just right now an amount of complexity that it keeps you interested, but it's something you can just give yourself up to and enjoy and sit around and play and talk and have fun with your friends. Love it.
Istanbul was a lot of fun. You know, similar release window to Five Tribes, similar theme kind of, but very different. Like, I don't usually describe games as light medium, but I think that's what I'd call this game. It had choice, decision-making, competition, but none of it was super complicated or you know, mean in any way, even though it's got worker placement in it. So it's a great blend of a light game with that Euro worker placement kind of theme. Really enjoyed it. It was just an enjoyable experience. I'm gonna go love it.
Hey guys, that was our Istanbul review. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and also tell me what your favorite They Might Be Giants song is. Click on me to subscribe, and thanks to all these people for helping us out. Are we getting with the shirt? No? Cool. Okay. I just know you were worried about it before. Okay.